待してほしい。一緒に考えていこう。二人のこれからの関係を大切にすり合わせていこう。
That's it, my friends. Days with my stepsister. Days with my stepsister. As the show has been unfolding throughout the whole season, one of the things I've been talking to you about is like the thing that I wanted to avoid the most was Asamura and Saki getting together. And you know, the reason behind that is I understand that this show is very much about Asamura falling in love with Saki and the vice versa about it. And I totally get that. Ultimately, the end that we got wasn't bad, okay? But it still is not what I would have loved. I genuinely did love them introducing these other two characters. Fuji Amia, and then I have no idea what the guy's name was. Fuji Amia, I love her style. I love her eyes. I thought she was beautifully animated. The other dude that Saki had, they didn't really spend a whole ton of time on. You know, he was just the guy trying to get her out into a study session and on a date or whatever. And he succeeded. But they didn't really cover him too much, as they ended up giving Fuji Amia, the girl at the what do they call it? The after school study, whatever. They ended up giving her more attention, and they gave her more backstory, which I really appreciate. I'll talk about that as well this episode. But like I like that they introduced these two characters. I think they introduced them too late because I don't think we got enough time to really care about them. Again, on the one side, the Fuji Amia girl, I think that we did, but to get the Fuji Amia girl, we sacrificed Yamori, which was the bookstore girl. So it's like, I feel like we didn't have enough time. I feel like we needed maybe one more episode, maybe two more episodes to really kind of flesh out some of what they were trying to convey. But because we kind of sped through it, I really didn't care about this guy. And truly, you know, I cared about Fuji Amia because I liked her design and stuff, but this episode got me to care about her a little more. But then immediately they're 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥, because it moves right back to Saki and Asamura, which again is what the show's about. Now, episode 12, what it ended on was Asamura finally getting the guts or the gusto or the push that he needed from this Fuji Amia girl to go and not confess, but just be honest about his feelings with Saki. And during as they were eating dinner or breakfast or whatever it was, he ended up being like, hey, I think I have very strong feelings for you. And he just kind of vomited out, what he's been wanting to say. And Saki the whole time kind of pushed back on it because she's also been suppressing these feelings that she has for him. Eventually, that ended up happening. It transitioned into a scene where they're in her room and they're like, we'll figure this out together. And they don't want to hurt their parents, and they want to make sure that it's not awkward for them. It's all fun and games until like they bring a baby into the world or something, and then they're like, oh well, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, Grandpa, Grandma? This is a weird, fucking awkward thing for you guys to be married and your two kids have a kid. Now, obviously, mom works the nightlife, so, that is what it is. Dad works God knows what during the day, but he works some crazy corporate job. For me, I don't really care what people say, but, based on everything that I've seen from Japanese culture, is they're very people conscious. In Japan, people don't get divorced because of what others might say. People get segregated a lot, in Japan in certain, subsections and stuff. So I just imagine that this kind of scenario that they have bred would be very awkward for their family and stuff, regardless of what ends up coming from it. Now, with all that being said, going back, I do appreciate, I should say, that they were both honest with their feelings at the end. A little bit more Asamura versus Saki, but Saki ended up getting there because she just kind of accepted the thing that happened. I would have loved to see Saki's side of it because from this angle, we got Asamura talking to this Fuji Amia girl, and she was very much telling him, like, yo, you need to be selfish. Like, feelings are a selfish desire. Like, your feelings are just about you and you only. It is a selfish act. It is a selfish thing. But you're you. And I do like that lesson, that life lesson. And I tell a lot of people in, that I have coached or that I have been a part of their lives, in like the professional realm and stuff. I have to tell people a lot, like, you need to be selfish because at the end of the day, there's only you looking out for you. You only live once, and you have to be selfish about your happiness. Now, a lot of times you need to also understand that selfishness may affect other people, especially the people who are closest to you, and you need to be strategic and conscious of how certain decisions are going to affect them, right? Like if I make a decision, that decision will affect my wife, that decision will affect my kids. Those are the people closest in my niche, right? In my household. It may affect my little fluffy dog over there, and to somebody else, their closest person may be dad, maybe mom, maybe boyfriend, maybe girlfriend, maybe stepbrother, stepsister, best friend. It could be a best friend or best friends. You know what I mean? So everybody's little bubble looks a little different, but you have to understand that your selfish decisions, selfish desires, when you act on them, it can affect others. But you should still understand that you only can look out for you. So I do like the lesson that Fuji Amia was able to kind of give Asamura, to give him that nudge and push to go and pursue his selfish feelings, because like if you never do, you're only going to regret it. And you don't want to have regrets in life, at least you want to minimize the amount of stuff you do, especially when it comes to stuff with the heart and stuff like that. Now, on the flip side is they're just too young. Being 16, 15, 16, 17, you're just too young, and more often than not, love fails. And that's also a thing that they're going to have to go and navigate, and that's a whole other ball game that I will, or another door that I will open up. So I'll just say this. Episode 12, I think, depending on what you wanted from this show, I think the people who wanted to see Asamura and Saki get together, I think it delivered on that. I think, it didn't pursue it. It didn't have them go into like a sexual route. It didn't have them go into like a romantic super route. It just had them go into a route of acceptance. They both accepted each other's feelings, and they both kind of said, okay, we're going to navigate this together moving forward. We're going to plan. We're going to be very cautious about not ruining our mom and dad's life because we really care for them. We really want them to be happy. And I think that's the best course of action you can get if the agenda is to, in fact, have Asamura and Saki be together. They have both agreed, closed doors, they're together. They're going to have romantic feelings. They're going to pursue a relationship with each other. But outside of closed doors, publicly, they're going to be brother and sister. And that is a very awkward path to go on, especially when they make the decision to no longer have their closed doors be closed doors. You know what I mean? Is what it is, though. Overall, let me just say this. This show was a balance between intrigue and boring throughout the whole season. I think it skewed into boring a lot. I think it is skewed into the intrigue and tension quite a bit. And the episodes that were able to do that successfully were really good. And the ones that weren't were not. The ones that were boring were really boring. Overall, I would probably put this anime about a 6.5, maybe 6 or 6.5 out of 10. Totally watchable, beautiful show, beautiful animation. Actual story and actual plot at times boring. And I think the negative outweighs the positive. So overall, this was a journey. I thank you for being with me on it. I'm interested to see you guys' final thoughts in the comments below. But yeah, I would say this is not exactly the outcome I wanted, but it is the outcome that I expected. All right, my friends, I'll see you guys in the fall. Make sure you guys check out my fall videos coming very soon. I wanted to have them out this week. I'll probably have them out next week. We'll go through live chart, my anime list. We'll go through all the fall anime. And hopefully the fall anime are better than the summer anime. I'll see you then. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Have a good day. Peace out, my friends.